Hello, everybody, and welcome to lecture 7. And this one's going to be on pricing strategy. Again, about 25 to 30 minutes. So not as to give you too much information on this, but as with all of these, would expect you to read around the subject. Now, pricing is one of the most complicated parts of business planning, mainly because it needs to have a lot of research done into it, and there are various different strategies that you can use depending on a variety of variables such as seasonality, the target market that you're aiming at, and so on. So for you guys, it's going to be a lot of research into the specific 4 areas that we need to look at with market research that Karina will have already covered. So that's who our customers are and our target markets, who our competitors are, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and how we can take advantage of the opportunities and negate the threats that we have from that. What's happening with the market? In terms of the dynamics, is it growing, is it shrinking, what are the market trends, and finally the market environment, which is essentially the PESTEL analysis, so what's happening externally to the business that can have either a negative or positive impact on it. But as I said, today we're going to be concentrating on the pricing elements. So what we're going to outline is we're going to look at some pricing strategies for some new products. We're going to look at some product mix pricing strategies. We're going to look at some adjustment strategies as well, because a lot of the time you can adjust the prices depending on market conditions such as supply and demand, seasonality, and other trends. And we're going to look at price changes as well. So the 2 broad pricing strategies that we have are skimming and penetration. And briefly, what these are is to look at developing the market and increasing the amount of people that are actually going to be purchasing the product or service that you're actually providing. So skimming is basically going slightly above the market price, and penetration is going slightly below the market price. So the market price being what everybody in the market is currently selling your product or service at as an average. So as it says here, so skimming is a strategy with high initial prices to skim revenue layers from the market. Quality and image must support the price, so people will not buy an inferior product if you are using the skimming strategy. They must want the product at that price as well, so there's a bit of supply and demand economics that comes into this. If you have buyers who desperately want a product, but there is a lack of supply for one reason or another, then that is a good indication that that a skimming strategy will work. Costs of producing the product, small volumes, should not cancel the advantage of the higher prices. So again, it's really good from a service perspective because the cost of production usually is quite small, and competitors should not be able to enter the market easily. Okay, where there's a lot of competition, then usually what happens is that the price is the first differentiator that everybody tries to compete on. So if we look at it from Porter's 5 forces, the entry to or barriers to entry, one of the 5 forces, should be quite high. Penetration, on the other hand, sets a low initial price so that you can penetrate the market quickly and deeply, which is where the name comes from. So again, this works better in a price-sensitive market where there's a lot of competition. Inverse relationship of production and distribution to sales growth. So what we're saying there is that the amount that you spend on production doesn't really have an impact, and low prices must keep competition out of the market. So from a volume perspective, this is where we are trying to be in a market where you are selling high volumes of products or services at low prices. It's worth noting at this point as well that the skimming strategy, there is an upper limit. It's usually about 20 to 30% above market price. So you can, if you've got a fantastic product, a fantastic unique offering, then you can push up to about 30% above the market price, but usually no more. It then becomes uneconomic for your customers. And laterally, you shouldn't really drop 30% below market price, again, because what will tend to happen is that you will be in danger of starting a price war where more established competition will drop their prices temporarily in an effort to get you out of the market. So some of the mixed strategies that we have. Okay, so we've got there are more than 5, but we're going to concentrate on some of these 5 areas here: product line pricing, optional product pricing, by-product pricing, and bundle pricing. So what these are in brief detail. So product line pricing takes into account cost differences between products in the line, customer evaluation of their features, and competitors' prices. So what we're doing is looking at all of the key elements there: the cost of production or providing a service, what the customer's evaluation of the features are, so how much they're prepared to pay, and what your competitors are currently pushing out into the market. So you're dynamically altering your prices based on everything that's happening within the market at the current time. Optional product pricing takes into account optional or accessory products along with the main product. Okay, so a good example of this would be vehicles, motor vehicles. If you go out and you buy a car, then there's a base model and there's a lot of optional accessories and so on that you can purchase alongside that. So you look at the basic cost of the minimum viable product, the MVP as we call it, and then the customer has the opportunity to build their own product or service based around their own particular needs. Captive product pricing involves products that must be used along with the main product. Okay, so software is a good example of this. You purchase some software, and then with games and so on, then they make you purchase coins or whatever it is to actually play that game. So it is in effect locking you in. Two-part pricing involves breaking the price into 2. So you have a fixed fee for something and a variable usage fee. Now, one company that has started doing this is the ARC car wash company that operate car washes throughout the UK. They have a subscription service that allows you to get up to 80% off your car washes if you pay a fixed fee at the start of each month. But again, what this is doing is it's locking your customers into your product offering. By-product pricing refers to products with little or no value produced as a result of the main product. Okay, so what we're talking about here is selling something that has very little value in itself, but then the main revenue and the main profitability comes from the associated products that come with that. Okay, so again, apps on iTunes and Google Play a lot of the time will have a free option, free to download, free to play, but to get further in the game and so on, then you need to purchase packs of cards or whatever it is to enable you to progress. And again, that's locking the customer in. There is an element of ethical debate about this as well, as to whether or not doing that is ethical, but it is a common strategy that people use. And bundle pricing combines several products at a reduced price. So usually, if you buy more of something, then the price is reduced. So wine subscription services are an example of this. Virgin Wine, of which I'm a customer, will charge you so much per bottle, but if you buy a case, the bottle is actually the cost per bottle is actually reduced. So again, it's more attractive to get people to buy more of something. There's some price adjustment strategies there. We're going to go through them one by one again, but again, these tend to be a little bit more tailored towards specific target markets that you may have identified. So in general, most businesses will have more than one target market based on either age, demographic, geography, psychographic, or so on. So discounts and allowance prices. So this is in essence a price reduction to reward customer responses. But in essence, what we're doing is we are trying psychologically to maintain the value of a product while lowering the price, because there is a psychological link between price and quality in your customers' heads, which is why most people will not go for the cheapest option. They will go for the most cost effective. An example of this is, let's say for instance I'm selling chairs for £100. I could sell one chair for £100. I could reduce the price and say the chair is now going to be £50, but I have in effect devalued the product. What would be easier for me to do would be to say buy one get one free. You have one chair at £100 and we'll give you another one for free. That then maintains psychologically in our head the value of that chair at £100. Okay, so you need to be a little bit creative as to the way that you go through these strategic approaches. Segmented pricing is where we look at different prices for different segments. Okay, and a cracking example here is Evian. They have basically exactly the same product in exactly similar, or I should say similar packaging, but they're charged at a much different price. So if we look at water to drink, a bottle of Evian water will cost somewhere between £1 and £1.50 for 500 millilitres. But what we have there is an aerosol can which is used to spray your face for cosmetic purposes and to cool you down. Usually about 150 millilitres, so about a quarter of the volume, but the price is considerably higher. We're looking at £3 to £4 for an aerosol. Now, yes, there are packaging costs associated with the aerosol can. However, at the volume that they sell those products, the economies of scale mean that the cost of the packaging per product is quite low. So exactly the same product, but being sold at entirely different prices to different target markets. One for basic consumption as a fluid, and another for cosmetic reasons. Segmented pricing again. So to be effective, the market must be segmentable. In other words, you must have identified different market segments or potentially different uses for the product that you are selling. You must show different degrees of demand, and again we're talking about the economics of supply and demand here. The higher the demand, the lower the supply, then the price will go up, and vice versa. If there's a lot of supply and not much demand, then the price will drop. Watching the market can't exceed the extra revenue obtained from price difference, and overall it has to be legal. Okay, there's cartel type and anti-monopoly type legislation in place in most countries to make sure that you aren't taking advantage of your customer base in an unethical way. So psychological pricing, this occurs when sellers they consider the psychology of prices, not just the simple economics. So what we're going back to here is people's perception of what the value of a product is. Okay, so for instance, you lock yourself out of your house on Christmas Day. a locksmith that would normally charge somewhere between £100 and £200 to come and break into your house and replace a lock, will charge upwards of £1,000 on Christmas Day, because they know that that people will want to be in their homes and not have their Christmas ruined. Okay, so the psychology of things is an important element to look at. Reference pricing. This is where we're looking at the prices within the market at the moment, the current prices, what past prices and past discounting strategies have been put in place, and what people's buyer situations are. So do people want to pay upfront? Do they want credit, or so on? So we're using a reference against what's happening within the market at the moment. So there's a lot of different promotional pricing strategies that are out there, and some of these you'll have heard about before, such as loss leaders, etc. But they are all there to increase demand. Okay, so loss leaders, typically supermarkets do this. They'll put a low cost option next door to something that is high profit. So for instance, you buy something because you think it's a good deal, and then you will see something next door which is more expensive, but you think because you've made a saving on the product that is loss leading, then you've got enough cash or enough funds to buy something that may be a desirable, not a need for you. Special event pricing around things such as Christmas and Easter, New Year's sales, etc. These are all promotional elements. Cash rebates, so car dealers again will use this all the time. We'll pay your deposit, or we'll give you £2,000 cash back, or so on. Low interest finance, again the motor trade use this a lot, 0% interest. But in reality, what they're doing is just increasing the overall price of the product to finance that finance. Longer warranties, free maintenance, etc. There's all different things that they can build in to create that package for you, that bundle. There are risks associated with it. Psychological risks of your customers. Thinking that the product that the bundle that you're providing is either too good to be true, or is cheap and nasty. If it's used too frequently, customers are going to just wait for those promotions to avoid buying at the regular price. A great example of this is SCS, DFS, these sofa selling outlets that always seem to have a sale on. I would love to meet somebody that's actually bought a full price sofa from one of these shops. I don't think they exist. And ultimately, as I said previously, if you keep dropping your price all the time, it just creates price wars and it effectively damages the market. Geographical pricing is used for customers in different parts of the country or the world. Okay, so some of this, if we look at it from a global stage, is based on things such as shipping costs. So if you buy something in China, it is likely to be cheaper in China than it is if it's in the UK, because of the increased shipping costs that have been levelled there, and other people that take a share of the profit within the distribution channel. At a more local level, it can be used quite well as well. So, for instance, if you were doing a window cleaning business, for instance, or a gardening business, then your price is going to be lower in a less affluent area than it is in a more affluent area, and that's not because you want to try and take advantage of the people that have more money, but the psychology of people who have more money is that they will pay for quality, okay, and they're not looking for the deal from that perspective. So these geographical things need to be taken into account as well, and especially if you're selling online and to different parts of the world, then there's also going to be currency fluctuations and so on. So FOB origin, free on board pricing, means that goods are delivered to the carrier and the title and responsibility passes to the customer. So free on board means that say we're having a product or delivered from India, for instance, then we pay as customers, we would pay the cost onto the ship or the method of transportation. But once it's on board the transportation, then to us, for all intents and purposes, it is free. But it has actually been built into the cost of production from the Indian side. Uniform delivery pricing, company charges the same price plus freight to all customers, regardless of location. Zone pricing, company sets up 2 or more zones where customers within a given zone pay a single total price. So the EU, very, very topical at the moment because the UK is coming out of the single market, but the most suppliers will use an EU-based zone pricing model, which means that once we leave the Eurozone, if we don't have a deal, then pricing of products outside of the UK are likely to become more expensive. Basing point is where all charges, customers, the freight costs are associated from that city to the customer location, regardless of the city from which the goods are actually shipped. Okay, so in a large country like China, the price will be the same if it is shipped from to the UK from somewhere like Beijing in the east, or somewhere like Hong Kong, which is further west. The cost is exactly the same. The country is the basing point. Freight absorption pricing means the seller absorbs all or part of the actual freight charge as an incentive to attract business in competitive markets. So again, it means that they will lower their profits, but use the cost that the fact that they are paying for the shipping as a way to reduce the price, but maintain the air of quality and prestige about the product or service. Dynamic pricing, prices adjust continually to meet the characteristics of the individual customer and situations. Airline industries are the classic example of this, where depending on the time that you book a seat, let's say EasyJet for instance, then if there are a lot of seats on that plane, obviously from an economic perspective, there's a lot of supply and not much demand. The price is going to be less than if that flight is looking to be full. Okay, as the plane fills up, the price will change accordingly. International pricing, specific country-based pricing, and that's dependent on a number of elements. So economic conditions, how much local competition there is within a market, what laws and regulations there are about doing this sort of thing, trade and tariff, etc. The infrastructure within that country, and also the marketing objectives of that company. Are they trying to break into a new market? Is this why they are doing a promotional pricing strategy to deliver that? So, initiating price changes. 2 main price changes: you're cutting your price or you're increasing your price. It's as simple as that. Okay. Sometimes price cuts occur due to excess capacity or increased market share. So if our business is doing particularly well, to maintain growth and to encourage our customers to keep coming back to us, then we may reduce the price. We might increase the price because of inflation, so macroeconomic factors, and also the microeconomic factors as well, such as increased demand and lack of supply. Okay, so there's a number of external reasons why your pricing might change as well. It's something that you need to keep your eye on, and Karina and I have talked a great deal about your initial research into the market, but continued research is what you need to stay ahead of the curve, to stay ahead of your competition, and to assess what is likely to happen in the future. So you've got to think about it as well from your buyer's perspective. So if the price increases, what are they actually going to think? Is it a hot product? Is it something that everybody's got to have? PlayStation and Xbox, the price of the new consoles, bearing in mind everything that's happened this year, and the people have wanted to have a good Christmas. The price is dramatically higher than it normally would be, and a lot of that is to develop this hotness of the product, something that everybody wants. Or do your customers see this as company greed, especially if they can't actually get that product or service from anywhere else? Are they going to have a lower opinion of the company based on the fact that you're increasing price to try and take advantage of the market? Price cuts, okay. Are they going to think that new models will be available soon for it could be a computer, it could be a mobile phone or whatever? Should they wait until this new product is released before purchasing? Could be a model that's not selling well due to quality issues or supply issues or so on. And all of these psychological elements need to be taken into account, not just from the customer's perspective, but from the company that's selling perspective as well. Okay, they need to try and overcome these products to generate that relationship with the customer base. Questions that your customers are going to ask. So why did the competitor change the price? Sorry, these are questions that you should be asking yourself. So if there are price changes within the market, why did your competitor change the price? Okay, is this something that they're doing temporarily to try and stimulate the market, or is it permanent and likely to have a more damaging effect on the market? Okay, what is going to be the effect on the market share and profits for them and for you? And how are your competitors actually going to respond if you do something similar? Solutions to that and how you should overcome that. You can reduce price to match competition, but then again, that means that you've done your research and you are fairly confident that the volume is going to increase if you drop your price. Otherwise, all you're doing is eating into your bottom line. Maintain price but raise the perceived value through communications, which is always going to be the better option, because you're maintaining the value not just within the market but within your own products and services as well. Improve quality and increase price, and a lot of that comes down to the marketing and brand image, or launch a lower price fighting brand. So in other words, you can develop a similar product. It could be exactly the same product, and have what we call a diffusion brand. So fashion houses will do this quite a lot. Versace, for instance, the high-end brand Versace clothes, very, very expensive. They have a diffusion brand called Versus, which is virtually the same product, but is at a much lower price to try and affect that end of the market. And there's a simple flow chart really there of how you can respond to price changes. So I don't really need to go into this too much, but some of the strategies that you can actually use can be seen there. And this is more as you sort of develop your business moving into the second semester. If you guys are going to be staying with us for Applied Entrepreneurship 2, you need to be aware of what is happening within the market and with your competitors. So pricing within channel level. So if you're actually selling to not an end user, but somebody who is going to take that product, perhaps bundle it together with something else and sell that to the customer. Then there are some strategies that can be put in place from there as well. So price fixing, sellers must sell prices without talking to competitors. Okay, so basically what we're saying there is that the ultimate producer sets the price. Retail, food, FMCG businesses do this all the time, where you will see a recommended retail price. Predatory pricing is selling below cost with the intention of punishing a competitor or gaining higher profits by putting those competitors out of business. So that is the ultimate weapon when it comes to a trade war. So you might be, or pricing war. So you might be in a situation where you are using or going in at a price that is below your break-even cost in order to put your competitor businesses under pressure. Resale price maintenance is where again we're looking at RRP here. We as a producer tell our retailers to use a specific price so that the market is not damaged in any way. Deceptive pricing occurs when a seller states prices or price savings that mislead customers. So this is something that again you shouldn't do. It's something that causes confusion, and it ultimately ends up in a lack of trust from the customer's perspective. Okay, so there's some pretty in-depth pricing strategies there. Bearing in mind that your businesses are all startup businesses, then what you should be doing is looking at what your competitors, both direct and indirect, are doing in the market, and building up a table of what these competitors are actually doing, where their strengths are, and how they justify their prices. Again, this is something we'll look at in one of the upcoming seminars. Thanks so much for your time. Look forward to seeing you at the next seminar.